Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to look and do our commodity technical analysis update. We'll look at a bunch of different commodities, the dollar, 10-year yield, and precious metals, and I'll give you my financial opinion. Today's looking pretty good. Looks like we've got some of the key indicators turning in our favor for commodities. I'll let you know what those are. And we're going to dive in here and take a look right now. So let's dive in. We've got the dollar behind me. Remember, it's a relative strength indicator. The dollar still is declining in absolute value. But what we're seeing here is a stark reversal of the DXY. We kind of said that yesterday. We had a little wick at the top. We had that opening and closing price that was coming together where the buyers were starting to equal the sellers. And I said, is this a turning point? We'll have to find out today. It obviously is a turning point. We had a large down day today. Arguably could be a bearish engulfing where we could head lower in the short term. So with a weaker dollar, we usually see that as a tailwind behind a lot of our investments. The TNX also got hit pretty hard. We were in a ferocious path going higher, and we got hit hard today, down 6.5% on the 10-year yield. The volatility here is pretty great. Now, weaker dollar, weaker 10-year yield, that usually transpires in a stronger precious metals prices and some of these other commodities. TLT bond prices bouncing back a little bit, looking a lot better there. TYX also falling in a bearish engulfing pattern today. What that usually indicates is that we could see lower yields in the short term, that we are now going from an uptrend to a short-term downtrend, a reversal candlestick. That is good when looking at some of these precious metals. We could be seeing a bottom, short-term bottom in precious metals. Now we have to see if this is obviously sustaining. And we'll look at the ratio here, which is, this is the ratio that we look at. And I said this before, I've said it to some of the members on this ratio here, TYX to TNX. Whenever we get down to this low spot in the ratio, it's favorable to start to accumulate precious metals. If you had accumulated in the year 2000, you would have made a lot of money in precious metals. And right now, we are very low in this ratio of TYX to TNX. I don't know if anyone's ever used it before. I just noticed through overlaying some charts that this is a good indicator of when this... so this is the TYX is outperforming TNX. You can see the large bull market in gold. Then we had an underperformance, and this is the underperformance of gold. We had an outperformance here, outperformance, underperformance, and we went sideways. And right now, we are very low in this TYX to TNX ratio. And we're starting to bop higher here. Now, is this a broken downtrend? No, it's not. But what I want everyone to gain from this is that we are very low in this ratio. This is usually the time to accumulate precious metals, especially physical metals. You can see how this thing correlates very well with the movements of TYX to TNX. And that if we are heading higher, and what this means is that some of this is going to kind of unwind in terms of yields, this is where we could get a bottoming type pattern. Now, we're very early. It's too early for me to say that we're bottoming, but it's something to watch. Commodities are also rebounding here. I think it's very much tied to oil, as oil makes a large percentage of a lot of these commodity indexes. And we're coming back up, and I think this is probably going to stay in an uptrend, and we could bounce higher here. And we had that bounce higher today. Very nice. Gold heading higher, up 30 bucks. We got to see if that yield continues to pull back with a weaker dollar. If that's the case, if we are topping out in the DXY, and I know that could be premature, I could very well be humbled by saying that, but if we do, and we see these yields start to drop some, I think this will be the catalyst for gold to take off. We are seeing that also in silver. We're right on support. I like silver here quite a bit. Silver's looking very good. I also like platinum very much down here. If we get the right market conditions here, if that all lines up, I think we're going to be sailing in precious metals. And here are good entry points for myself. XAU to gold ratio heading higher, meaning that the gold and silver mining companies are outperforming. Again, we haven't broken the long-term downtrend that's above us. Looking at SILJ rocketing higher today, up 7.5%, right on the support line. So that's good. Support's starting to hold. And we'll see if we can keep that momentum up. GDX, same thing. Large up candlestick day. Finished very strong at the closing. And that's what we want to see. And if we get the right market conditions, maybe we can see a big move in the mining companies. Scrolling down to crude oil. Crude oil up 4.5%. We were coming down into that support region of about $75-ish. We got a nice good bounce today. Again, I'm not claiming that this is a bottom, but I do like what it's doing. I like that it's a big up day, nice big fat green candlestick, and finished strong at the end of the day. So that's good. Natural gas also took a ride today on that, heading higher. I know we had some inventory draws in crude oil. Could this be the bottom of it? Maybe, maybe not. We're getting some buying pressure here. It looked like we could even pull back a little bit more. We could bounce around here in the short term. Either way, I kind of like the way that this sector's looking, and I'm picking up some of my favorite names. XOP, yeah, you know me, hitting it hard today, finishing strong. Looks really good, actually. Oil bopping higher today has pushed XOP higher. So, we could move around here to the sideways, kind of consolidate a little bit before heading higher, or we could rip it. We had a pretty big draw in all, across the board in the oil products. So, I like it down here. OIH, also getting a good bounce here. We have support underneath us down here, but it's not looking too bad. We may move sideways for a little bit before a move higher, but again, this stuff, in my opinion, is all undervalued very drastically. We're going to have to drill more to get less in the future as decline rates start to take a hold of existing oil fields. Looking at uranium, we've got the uranium futures price. It still looks good. We are slightly lower. This might be delayed by a day, but I still like this. This very well could go higher. I said that yesterday. Some people were calling me a uranium pumper. Well, you know what? I call it like I see it, in my opinion. We are back doing a back test. We very well could go higher here. This doesn't look like a bearish setup to me. If this looks like a bearish setup and you guys get all bearish because the overall markets are falling, you got to just look and see where the turning points are and where the support levels are. Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, big bullish engulfing on the weeklies. This to me looks like it wants to go higher. We've got good, strong finish today, above support, good, strong closing. We fought off all the selling pressure and we went higher. It is trading with the overall markets right now, so that is something to watch, but the overall markets were also strong. Again, weaker dollar, weaker 10-year yield. That's going to be a tailwind behind our investments on some of this stuff. URNN is also rocketing higher. Nice, strong finish. Looks really good. Support's holding. I can't say too much real bad about this. If you zoom out on the monthlies, we could pull this bottom of this candlestick up quite a bit and then start to move on higher. The weekly candlesticks, this is a bullish piercing candlestick that is developing on the weekly. If we end up even more, maybe we put a bullish engulfing, much like this candlestick there. So we do have a lot of support. It is putting in a bullish engulfing or piercing pattern, depending on where it ends this week. It looks good. CCJ putting in the bullish engulfing. It depends where we close this week out, obviously, but this obviously looks very bullish to me to rocket higher. Now, I am looking at all of this from the paradigm that we are under cost curves, which we are, and that we're running deficits in uranium, and the inventories are getting eaten up. So obviously, I'm going to be bullish from a fundamental perspective, and I'm looking at the technical charts from a fundamentally bullish perspective, like I should be and like everyone else should be. But we went higher on CCJ on the dailies. Doesn't look as bullish as the weeklies. The monthlies, looking at the monthlies, we're still getting that bloody nose type scenario setting up. That is a continuation pattern to move higher. We are at a very strong resistance area under $31, $32. We got to close above that. We close above that, and that opens up the possibility of a much bigger run. It doesn't mean that we just run immediately. We could pause where we had all this trading in here before, but that's our next step, is to close above $32 a share. Looking at TAN, TAN is a solar ETF. I still like the way it looks. I am remaining bullish. We are still above this breakout. We're getting a bullish engulfing. I think we are heading higher. It looks really good for a potential move higher. This is your retest. All the bearish people out there need to calm down. That's not going to get you anywhere. I like it down here. And I like today would have been a good day to be looking at it. Another company or ETF, Hydro, looks really good. Global Hydrogen ETF. This guy has a falling wedge pattern. It's heading on down. We're doing a retest. And on the dailies, we're putting in a nice little bullish engulfing that is still very low. Highly volatile, much more speculative. Maybe that tickles some fancies out there. I don't know. It's up to you. COPX, the copper ETF, laying down some good numbers today. We were falling below support. I said we got to see some buyers step in here, push us back support. Well, the buyers stepped in here. It's turning around, looks a lot better. Let's hope that momentum can continue. CRB to S&P 500, just moving. We could slightly pull back here. I do think that we are in a consolidation phase for copper and some of these other commodities. We could be in a consolidation phase still for oil. So we could consolidate sideways for a little bit and then eventually resume higher in this ratio. Rare earth metals looks good. Nice, good bullish engulfing. As support, looks good for a short-term move higher. Lithium also getting in the bullish, piercing, bullish engulfing candlestick. Looks like that wants to go higher as well. Seeing lots of bullish candlesticks around. S&P 500, it's not quite a bullish engulfing, but we got some buying pressure today. We'll see where this thing ends up in the short term. So I'm bullish in the short term. We'll see where this thing goes. Is it going to roll back over and head lower? Are we going to burst out of here and head higher? I think it highly depends on interest rates and highly depends on the dollar and all of those things intermixed. Looking at the NASDAQ, U.S. Composite Index, that is a bullish engulfing. Short-term wise, we are heading higher, in my opinion. We'll have to see what the follow-through tells us. Emerging markets, nice big bullish engulfing. I think that we're going to head higher. We had a weaker dollar with a bearish engulfing on the dollar. So EEM, more of a contrarian play. If you think the dollar is going to weaken and all of that bullishness is going to reverse on you, now's the early entry point if you want to enter for EEM. XHB, our home builders ETF. Again, this could be a double bottom. We could be heading higher. We've broken out of the downtrend. It looks a lot better, and we'll see where we go. Lumber basically moving sideways today. We've got cocoa futures still looking good with the bloody nose. We've got wheat heading higher, and I think that will continue higher by looking at these candlesticks and the way that they look. I think that we're going to continue to the upside and grind higher. Soybeans also looking good to grind higher. I don't see too much selling pressure, and the opening and closing price is coming to an equal point. That usually means that we're going to head higher. So we have the big buying pressure, small selling pressure, and that usually resolves higher over time. Corn's looking good. I still like it. Copper getting that big buying pressure right at support. Again, we don't want to lose the $3.20 range area. I do think if we go lower, it will be temporary, as in less than a year. It's not going to be a forever down and out gigantic bear market. It will be a temporary move in a fear-driven market, and then we're going to go higher. But this looks good to go higher right now. It looks good. Nice strong finish. Mu also finishing quite strong. Big bullish engulfing. That's probably going to go higher on a statistical basis. Looks very good. Aluminum also getting a little bit of support. I know some people are getting scared because it broke down a little bit, and they said, oh, it's going to crash. Calm down, guys. We'll see where it goes. Just calm down. Yes, I am bullish. Why? Because they've got everything shut down in Europe. It has to go higher at some point. It has to. And I know that sounds weird, but has to means hedge yourself with time, take a longer time frame. It's got to go higher. We're going to run massive deficits in the future. And aluminum is going to become a lot more rare as everything shuts down in Europe because of energy crisis. We got the Baltic Dry Index also right at support. Resistance. It's got a little bit of resistance moving sideways. A couple of companies there that I do like as well. I'm doing a midweek update for the Platinum members. So I'll be updating the website on what I'm doing, what I'm buying. I've got some high torque companies, high leverage companies that I like that I've been adding into. I've got some more, we'll call it conservative investments as well that I'm also adding into. And I'll go over that in the Platinum membership, finding-value.com over here. If you want to join up and you can see that video on what I'm doing myself. But it's looking a lot better. I still think uranium looks like a powerhouse. I think with time, it's going to go higher. Yeah, in the short term, it could move all around, shake us, try to shake all the quarters out of us upside down, you know, and whatever falls out of our pockets for a little bit, but it'll fall back in as we turn upright. So that's what I've got for today. Give me a thumbs up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And everything's looking a lot better. And hopefully this momentum can continue forward. So that's all I've got. Have a good day.